Have you ever had the experience of feeling like you are more aware of somebody's emotions that you love or care for or are close to, even more than you're aware of your own emotions? If this sounds like you probably struggle with something called enmeshment. Now, enmeshment is essentially a relationship or the description of a relationship between two or more people where emotional boundaries can be really confusing. It's almost as if each individual in the enmeshed relationship tend to feel each other's emotions more than they are actually attuned to their own emotions. And while this may sound at a surface level like a romantic or very sweet thing, it's actually something that will ultimately usually lead to the destruction of a relationship long term. So in this video, I'm going to take you through exactly where enmeshment comes from, why it actually is more destructive to relationships than it may sound, and some really healthy alternatives to being enmeshed and some steps we can take to get there. So first and foremost, enmeshment often happens because as a young child, for a very large number of potential reasons, you grow up in an environment where you don't really have space to feel and experience your own emotions. And because of either chaos in the environment or a fear of abandonment you develop early on, or any number of things, like a lot of change happening, a lot of fighting, there can be a whole bunch of different potential reasons for why. But basically, because of the stress emotionally in your environment and your upbringing, you feel like, okay, if I can just pay attention to what my caregivers or other people in my environment are feeling, then I can try to please them and then gain their approval and try to gain connection as a result. Or at least, in the very least, I can know what other people are feeling and then I can protect myself accordingly. And for some people, that may even mean pulling back into themselves. And for other people, it may mean if I know what other people are feeling, I can try to get closer to them. And so as a result of all of this actually becomes a way that you learn to cope and basically interact in relationships. And it becomes a subconscious program. It's really easy to develop subconscious programs whenever you're repeatedly exposed to experience or events. And you can think of what is your subconscious program or set of programs as being like your operating baseline for how you're used to connecting and interacting. So because of that, interesting childhood environment that might be there, as a result, you grow up, you have this experience of being really hyper attuned to other people's emotions. And it's actually impossible to be really attuned to what somebody else is feeling and exactly what you're feeling simultaneously. You can go back and forth quickly. You can be good at being attuned to yourself and attuned to others. But generally, when you're forced to grow up in some kind of environment where you have to over attune to others, that usually means or is usually correlated with a bit of an under adaptation, like a lack of being really attuned to your own feelings in real time. And so when you have two people who are both naturally enmeshed and then get into a relationship with each other, or even are in a pre-existing relationship, like maybe two family members that are enmeshed or friends that are enmeshed, what essentially ends up happening is both people, because of that enmeshed dynamic, are sort of always trying to read each other and read between the lines and guess what each other needs. And actually, as a result of that, it often enables healthy communication and expression of assertiveness, expression of boundaries, expression of needs in a relationship to not really take place. It's almost like it disables that from being able to really take shape and take hold because there's no investment into that long term. And so there's a strong parallel essentially between people who are enmeshed and people who often aren't truly communicating their feelings, their needs, their boundaries with each other, because there's sort of like this expectation that both parties read between the lines instead. And what you'll see as a result of that is that it can become really problematic long term, where, even though both people may be very good at attuning to other people in that relationship dynamic, like let's say you have a traditional relationship romantically, and both people are really good at attuning to each other. Well, if later on down the line, there's some sort of experience that takes place where one person misses something or one person didn't read the other person's mind, often the other person feels very hurt, very betrayed, very frustrated. And worse than that, when both parties aren't good at attuning to themselves as well as the other, and they don't know they don't know what they're experiencing, then they can't properly communicate it with each other. And as good as enmeshed people can be at reading between the lines, when we don't have somebody really telling us their true needs and knowing themselves well enough to know their needs and share them with another person, you can bet that there's going to be breakdowns in a relationship long term. So if this sounds like you, what do you do? Right. And try to look for a moment. Okay. Like, let's actually look at this together. Try to look for a moment at all the times that you were enmeshed or you had enmeshed relationships. And let's look at the costs for a moment. Like, what did this cost you when somebody forgot something or didn't read your mind or missed a need or didn't understand something? How much resentment did you feel? How much frustration did you feel? How much hurt and betrayal did you feel? What does this cost to your relationship when you have all these expectations of somebody? Because you're enmeshed to them, you're doing things above and beyond for them. And then the moment somebody doesn't show up for you in the same way, how much pain does that cause you, right? Because you expect that because you're doing so much, they should be doing the same. And try to notice as well how much you take on other people's emotions and how you end up coping with that. Do you feel the need to abandon yourself to caretake for others all the time, and that burns you out? Do you instead just feel exhausted by that and withdraw from people and push people away to keep yourself safe from feeling all of their feelings and keep yourself safe from that feeling of overwhelm that will often accompany that? And if so, right, how does that affect your relationships long term? What does that cost you? Now, I have a whole course you can check out for free for 7 days on enmeshment and enmeshment trauma and codependency and how to actually reprogram and recondition this. But I'm going to give you 1 or 2 short steps in this video. Obviously, a full course gives you, it's like an hour and a half of content. It gives you all the beliefs you have to reprogram, all the needs you have to meet, all the ways you can actually recondition enmeshment and communicate differently and bring more health and wellness to your relationships as a result, and deeper connection as a result too. Because notice this, I want to share one other thing before I tell you what to do, or suggest some steps. One other thing too is like, when you get into a relationship dynamic where you are experiencing this enmeshment, like, it's so interesting how you naturally will violate your own boundaries, right? Like, because you don't really know where you end and somebody else begins. And that in and of itself has like a whole bunch of different painful potential outputs, right? You feel like lost in the mix and unseen and unheard. And when you share a boundary, you sharing your boundary is you actually sharing your truth, right? This is a yes for me. This is a no for me authentically, right? My truth here in the situation. And so by sharing and communicating, it enables you to feel like, okay, people actually see what's okay for me and not, and I'm not hiding myself by not communicating about a boundary. Sometimes people think boundaries are separation, but they're actually a joining. It's a joining of your authentic self instead of your people-pleasing self. Anyways, with all that being said, some things you want to do are number 1, pull out like what your limiting beliefs are about enmeshment or about your interactions with people that are related to enmeshment. And you'll often see there's things like, I am responsible for other people's feelings. If I don't caretake for other people's feelings, I'll be alone, I'll be abandoned, I'll be unloved. I'm a bad person if I don't caretake for people's feelings. If I'm not deeply emotionally connected to people, I'm unsafe. Like, you'll usually see that there's a lot of core beliefs there. Again, I've got like all of the potential core beliefs in that course you can check out for free using the link below. So you want to like work on reconditioning those beliefs first. And it's not hard to do that. You just need some reprogramming tools and you'll really see the needle move. And then you want to learn to actually get back in touch with your own emotions in real time through paying attention to your emotions, somatically being able to connect, like attune to yourself. And through trauma, we can disconnect from ourselves, right? We can get into a position where we're not like being able to notice our feelings in real time, even though they're going on all day long, with or without our conscious awareness. And so much of healing actually first involves feeling, like being able to feel our own emotions again, reconnecting to what our true yeses and our true nos are, what makes us feel comfortable, uncomfortable, afraid, and to learn that our emotions are giving us really powerful feedback all the time, and to be able to unpack that feedback and use it for good. So if you feel anxious about something and you realize, oh, it's because I have an unmet need to feel validated by a partner, then you can share that with your partner in a kind, healthy way, and then receive that need, right? So it's, our emotions are there to guide us in a positive direction, but usually one of the byproducts of enmeshment is that we can't get in touch with our own emotions because we're so consumed with the emotions of others that we don't even get the opportunity to use that feedback for good to improve the overall quality of our lives. So anyways, I know this is a lot of information for one video. I hope this makes sense. It's super powerful and important to pay attention to. And again, you can check out that course for free for 7 days using the link below. That link also gives you access to the 4 live weekly calls I do with all of our students, which are like webinar style format, Q&A. Like you can join in there. You can ask me any questions you have. And also gives you access to all of our other courses, not just the Codependency and Enmeshment course. And then we have daily social events that are really, really amazing. We have an amazing community inside PDS. Everybody kind of like shares vulnerably and helps each other out. It's a great place for connection as well. So anyways, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching and for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel, and I will see you in the next video.